Councilman Allen, are you with us?
Present. Testing, 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 testing. Testing, testing.
We can hear you, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul.
Please take your seats and we'll get the special town meeting started shortly. Okay. Okay. Okay, the special town meeting of the town of the city of Peoria is now called to order. Please rise for a moment of silent prayer or silent reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before proceeding, I will provide a brief explanation regarding who may make motions and vote at the special town meeting. Under Illinois law, anyone wishing to make motions and vote at the special town meeting must be a township elector. As mentioned at the annual town meeting, an elector is defined under the law as a person registered to vote within the township no less than 28 days before the date of the special town meeting. Please note that the township boundaries are different from the city of Peoria's boundaries. If you wish to vote at this special town meeting, you must check in at the table outside council chambers and obtain a numbered index card to show proof of elector status during any vote. We are at item number 3. Nominations are open for the position of moderator. If you wish to make a nomination, please state your name for the record and identify the person you are nominating. A motion has been made to nominate Dr. Rita Ali as moderator. Is there a second? Is there a second to the motion? And please. Great, thank you very much. Are there any more nominations from the floor? Any more nominations from the floor? Seeing none, the nominations are closed. All those in favor of electing Dr. Rita Ali as moderator, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Dr. Rita Ali has been elected moderator by majority vote. Madam Moderator, please rise to be sworn. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to perform the duties of moderator of the special town meeting faithfully and impartially as required by law? Okay. Thank you. Please be seated.
Before we begin tonight, it is important to address the rules that will govern tonight's special town meeting. Electors have the right to participate in an orderly and respectful manner consistent with the longstanding rules established by the township under Illinois law. As moderator, it is my responsibility to preserve order and decide questions of order during the meeting. The following rules of order will govern tonight's meeting. 1, no person may speak until recognized by the moderator. 2, Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. The moderator reserves the right to limit repetitive comments or statements or grant additional time to a spokesperson for a particular agenda item. 3, no one shall read statements, letters, or comments on behalf of someone who is not present. 4, defamatory, obscene, or disruptive remarks will not be permitted. 5, shouting, slapping, interrupting, or other disruptive conduct will not be allowed. And anyone who violates these rules shall be warned to discontinue the conduct. Repetition or continuation of the conduct after a warning shall result in removal of the meeting. Madam Clerk, please read the next agenda item.
Item number 4 is a discussion on the formation of an ad hoc senior services committee to study the use of township funds or other funds to provide services to senior citizens with possible action.
Thank you. Before opening this item for discussion and potential action, I will ask the township attorney to provide any procedural background or clarification needed for the electors.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. It's important to note that under Article 220 of the Township Code, it is the Township Board with the ultimate power to create such a committee, whether, in my opinion, permanent or ad hoc. With that being said, the electors may discuss and vote on sending such a request to the Town Board for that board to consider the formation of such a committee. Therefore, a vote in favor of forming a committee tonight is a request to the Town Board to consider it. The Town Board would then consider the matter at a future Town Board meeting and not at a special or annual town meeting of the electors. Madam Moderator, absent any further questions, the item is ready for elector discussion and possible action.
Okay, thank you. At this time, a spokesperson for the petitioners is allowed to speak on the item for up to 5 minutes. Is there a spokesperson for this item?
Thank you, Mayor Ali, for the opportunity to address the electors of Peoria Township regarding the unmet needs of older adults in Peoria. My name is Peggy Hawkes, and I am a resident of Peoria Township, and I asked for this special town meeting at the annual meeting on April 14th. Per agenda item number 4, I will provide to the electors the rationale to form a senior services ad hoc committee. The fact that Peoria does not currently have and must create a senior services resource hub for healthy aging is indisputable. Page 1 of your handout illustrates the essential need for planning ahead for Peoria's aging population. The City of Peoria's strategic plan and the Economic Development Council's recommendations are to promote Peoria as a livable city. There is much work to do to make Peoria an age-friendly city, according to the standards of AARP. The growing age ratio of older adults to younger persons is a worldwide phenomenon playing right here in Peoria. Peoria is at a critical phase of preparation to create accessible resources to age well before the toll of social isolation, lack of purpose, and ability creates a serious shortage of those resources. Fact. Peoria and the surrounding area do not have adequate assisted living and nursing home capabilities to meet the impending need. The cost of such living facilities starts at $5,000 a month, and at current nursing home rates is up to $10,000 a month. If we fail to support aging in place, the financial burden eventually will shift to our health, safety, and emergency systems. Prevention is not just a moral choice, it's a fiscal responsibility. We have the opportunity now to scale up vital aging resources to promote vitality instead of enabled ability. We must make it possible to age in place. The healthcare and social services system in the United States are difficult to navigate, and anyone who has helped a loved one go through this maze can attest to the endurance required to get to the right person, the right resource, and then to even be eligible for that assistance. If you haven't had to navigate that, you eventually will. For every $1 of prevention, $2 to $3 are saved, much less the reduction of human suffering and distress. The bottom line questions are, how do we want to age to have a long health span, not just lifespan? How do we want to be cared for when we need care? And how do we want our loved ones to be cared for? We do have control over the answers to these questions. Graceland Center for Purposeful Aging has initiated the call to action for healthy aging. We are writing the grants, doing the fundraising, and creating programming as a beginning to the answer. We are offering a solution to meet the needs of older adults in Peoria, but we cannot do it alone. Charitable funding for older adult services is less than 3% of all available funding. Operational costs are exceptionally difficult to cover with grants. While Peoria is blessed with incredible nonprofits, the reality is that most impactful agencies operate on a blend of federal, state, and local support. Private charity cannot alone bridge the gap. With over 30,000 people over the age of 50 in the city of Peoria alone, a diverse model of programming and funding must move forward with engagement at a larger scope, which is why we have asked for this special meeting as a call to action. We turned in over 85 letters from the community last month to ask for this study because agencies and electors alike recognize that the well-being of older adults is essential to a thriving community. The proposed Peoria Township Senior Services Ad Hoc Committee is described in your handouts on pages 2 to 4. I realize that that has to be approved. I wasn't aware of that when we got started, but at least you can see the outline. This committee should have a clear short-term focus to design a sustainable, evidence-based roadmap for a dedicated senior center and a comprehensive older adult service network that enhances the health, dignity, and economic stability of Peoria's aging population. It should not be an open-ended commitment, hopefully a 6-month surgical strike to find the money and direct the path forward. Township is one governance that is designed to help study and address the needs of older adults. So after the necessary discussions on this topic, I will make a motion.
Thank you. At this time, I will open the floor for further discussion by the electors on item number 4. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand. Once recognized, please come to the podium and state your name for the record. Comments must be limited to item number 4, whether in favor, against, or neutral. Anyone? Okay, let's start over here, and then we'll come over here. I think Ms. Bailey.
Good evening. My name is Jim Runyon. I live at 206 East Ellington Drive here in the city of Peoria on the East Bluff. I was at the annual meeting and I heard some things that were said there that I took exception with. So I wanted to address those tonight. And they go to how a senior center might be funded at some point in the future. At the annual meeting, there was some comments about non-for-profits and how they are funded. So I want to tell you briefly my background so that you understand why I can speak on this. I was executive vice president at Easter Seals, Central Illinois, for a number of years. And at the same time, I was the founder and co-founder of the Human Services Collaborative here in Peoria, which is over 40 non-for-profit human service organizations. And at the same time, was president of Illinois Partners for Human Services, which is a coalition of more than 800 human service organizations across the state. Our Human Services Collaborative and Illinois Partners have studied the economic impact of human services on this greater Peoria area 5 different times over 15 years. So we have a very good handle on how we are funded. In order to determine that economic impact, we needed to know, where does our funding come from and where does it go? So I wanted to share with you tonight what we have learned from that. Here in Greater Peoria, amongst those organizations that are part of the Human Services Collaborative, we average 59% of our funding coming from public funds. 8% of our funding comes from fundraising. So that means the remainder of our funding comes from a broad mix of different kinds of either fees for service, for-profit businesses that have been spun up, but importantly, 59% of our funding comes from public sources, federal, state, and local. Our return on investment for every dollar invested in human services in this community is averages over, again, those 5 studies, $1.72. I wish I could tell you exactly how that compares to every other industry, but there is no comparison for that. I've talked to Chris Setti, I don't know how many times, requesting how do we find out how good our return on investment is compared to agriculture or manufacturing or healthcare, but nothing like that exists. So all I can say about our return on investment, it is very, very good. That's what the experts say. So every dollar invested in human services in this community is money very well spent. So I am not here to advocate necessarily for public funding at some future point for the senior center. I'm saying public funding is essential for any human service non-for-profit. So I thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Another speaker?
My name's Emma Bailey, and I see some friends I've known for a very long time, and I see some friends that I've met more recently. I'm a board member of Graceland Center for Purposeful Aging, and the reason I believe that this is imperative for our community is because my mom told me to. My mom is who told me. She came out to a Graceland Center for Purposeful Aging. My mother's 76 years old. She was a nurse for over 40 years in adolescent mental health. And I am a nurse. My daughter's a nurse. My husband is an officer. And we believe in the community of Peoria. Graceland is a very unique place where this is a place where these people are vital to our community. These are people who are still living, who are loving, who are vacationing, who are active. And it's very unique because you'll see we have a diversity of people here. We have men, we have women, we have people of different ethnicities. And it is so exciting when you go in. When I first started, there was probably a group of maybe, 20, and it's grown up to 60, 70. We started with a couple of days a week for a couple hours. Now we've expanded to 3 to 4 days a week. We do congregate meals, we do yoga, and it is really bringing people into the community and saying, how will we live? We are still healthy, we're still contributing to our society, and we're leaving a legacy for not only our parents, but ourselves, because I want someone someday to come and take my place. And the way we do that is how we take care of our seniors, is how we will be taken care of, and how our children will take care of us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to item number 4? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion, and please state your name for the record.
Peggy Hackus. And my understanding is that I use the agenda item. And so I move for the formation of an ad hoc Senior Services Committee to study the use of township funds and other funding to provide services to senior citizens with possible action.
Thank you. Motion has been made. Is there a second? Please state your name for the record.
My name is Emma Bailey, and I second.
Okay. Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, we will proceed to a vote. Only verified township electors may vote. All electors in favor of the motion, please raise your card, or if you don't have a card, raise your hand. Yeah. This is in favor. All those opposed, please raise your card. Or raise your hand in terms of council.
Is there anybody opposed? No? None? Okay, we have 40 electors. So in order for the item to pass, we need to have 21 in favor. And we have 35 in favor, so the motion passes.
Okay. Motion passes. The request for the town board to consider the formation of an ad hoc senior services committee will be placed before the town board for consideration at a future joint city council town board meeting. Madam Clerk, item 5, please.
Item number 5 is a discussion of funding for senior services and potential action on a request for the Township Board to consider a senior services tax levy under 60 ILCS 1/35-55.
Thank you. Excuse me. Again, before opening this item for further discussion, I will ask the township attorney to provide procedural background regarding this item.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Much like item 4, the electors may now discuss whether they wish to ask the town board to consider the issue of funding for senior services, specifically the consideration of a potential senior services tax levy. Since item 4 passed, there are some additional considerations at issue here. You will recall this was the second item in the original petition submitted to us for consideration at the annual town meeting. At that meeting in April, there was discussion about the timeliness of this particular issue, balancing that issue with the rights of the petitioners who asked for consideration of that original item. The electors are within their right to act tonight on the original request to ask the board to consider such a levy, or perhaps a different alternative, including but not limited to a motion to table this item for future consideration, subject to the requirements of Illinois law and any applicable notice requirements for a future meeting. In sum, any action taken tonight, regardless of those options above, will not impose a tax levy. If action is taken on the petition's original request to seek a tax levy, that will be presented to the town board for future consideration by the board at a township board meeting. If there is a vote to table the funding issue, for example, which based on the discussion at the annual town meeting may be possible, a final vote on asking the board to consider such a levy will occur at the next meeting, town meeting of the electors, likely after the ad hoc committee makes any recommendations, as this particular power to request board action on a levy will rest with the electors and not the ad hoc committee. Madam Moderator, the item is ready for elector discussion and possible action.
Thank you. This item is now before the electors for discussion and possible action. At this time, I will allow a spokesperson for the petitioners to speak up to 5 minutes regarding this item. Is there a spokesperson for the petitioners?
Hi, I'm Peggy Hawkes again. Madam Mayor Ali and electors, for regarding item 5, when the petition was presented to the city clerk for the annual meeting April 14th, requesting that a special township meeting be called for the discussion and implementation of a study for the township for the purpose of using township funds to provide services to senior citizens under Article 60 ILCS 1/3555. The intention was to explore potential township funding for senior services in a broad sense, not to request a discussion for a senior citizens tax levy. The specific inclusion of a tax levy discussion on this agenda, I believe, is premature. The proposed Senior Services Ad Hoc Committee is designed to be the prudent first step. Its purpose is to analyze the full spectrum of existing funding, federal, state, and private, before any discussion of a local levy is considered. We need to determine that the funding mix and the gap before we can responsibly discuss new tax measures. To ensure we are following a data-driven process rather than a speculative one, I would prefer for this item to be tabled until the Senior Services Ad Hoc Committee has presented its formal recommendation and feasibility study to the Township Board of Trustees.
Thank you. At this time, I will open the floor for further discussion by the electors. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand. Once recognized, please come forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Okay. Are there any further comments from the electors on item number 5? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion on this item, including whether to act or to defer or table.
Madam Mayor, I move that we table this item until we get the recommendations from the Senior Services Ad Hoc Committee.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Okay. Are we going to use the cards again?
Actually, I believe a voice vote would be appropriate in this matter.
Okay. The motion is to table this item for future. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion to table passes. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
We are at citizens' opportunity to address the electors, and we have received one request
Okay,
from Kathy McNeil.
okay. Please state your name and, I think it's already been stated, but your comments are limited to 3 minutes.
It's Kathy McNeil. I'm a lifelong Peorian, and on this matter, I just want to say that I myself have benefited just from the Illinois Agency on Aging, especially for my parents' questions and needs. At the office, there were just a few people to interact with, and even then, they wanted me to use email. And so all I wanted to say is that lifting up the seniors of Peoria, I'm for that, whatever it takes.
Thank you, Ms. O'Neill. Okay. At this point, I need a motion to adjourn. And please state your name, and then I'll need a second and your name. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Anyone? Okay. Can I get a second? What's your name? Okay. Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. We're going to take a 5-minute recess before our city council meeting, please. If everyone would please take your seats, we're going to get started with our meeting. Please take your seats. Everyone, please take your seats so we can get started with our meeting. Please take your seats.
Here for the council meeting, then
Paul, you ready to rock and roll?
yes.
Okay.
I think it's more than that. 5, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. May I have your attention? It is 6:42 p.m. on Tuesday, May the 12th, 2026. I'd like to call the meeting of the Peoria City Council to order. I'd also like to welcome everyone here in our historic council chambers, as well as our audience watching and listening on cable channel 22 and on the City of Peoria YouTube channel. Madam Clerk, the council mics are open. Please call the roll.
Mayor Ali,
Present.
Councilmember Carmona,
Here.
Councilmember Sear,
Here.
Councilmember Gordon Young,
Present.
Councilmember Jackson,
Here.
Councilmember Kelly,
Here.
Councilmember Euler,
Here.
Councilmember Riggenbach,
Here.
Councilmember Valpula,
Present.
and Councilmember Vespa.
Here.
You have a quorum present, Madam Mayor.
Well, thank you, Madam Clerk. A notice was received by Councilmember Allen of the City Council in accordance with rules established in ordinance number 16,142. Councilmember Allen would be deemed authorized to attend the meeting electronically unless a motion objecting to Councilmember Allen's electronic attendance is made, seconded, and approved by 2/3 of the members of the City Council physically present at the meeting. If no such motion is made and seconded, then the request by Councilmember Allen to attend electronically shall be deemed approved by City Council, and the presiding officer shall declare Councilmember Allen present. Seeing no objection, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Allen,
Present.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Everyone, pardon me. Thank you. I love the sound of a baby's voice. Please join me, everyone, and stand for a moment of silent prayer or silent reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk,
We are at proclamations.
we have several proclamations tonight, and I've asked council members to assist in the reading of those proclamations. The first proclamation recognizes Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. This proclamation will be presented by Councilmember Dr. Karen Velpula.
Whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is an annual celebration that recognizes the historical and cultural contributions of individuals and groups of Asian and Pacific Islander descent to the United States. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month includes cultures from the entire Asian continent and the Pacific Islands of Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. The Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage people are the fast-growing population in the United States and make up approximately 7% of the total population. And whereas in 1979, Representative Frank Horton of New York proposed Asian Pacific Heritage Week, and after the House and Senate passed in the resolution, it was signed into law by President Jimmy Carter. In 1992, it was expanded to a month-long celebration to be held in May as Asian Pacific Heritage Month. In 2009, it was renamed Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And whereas May was identified as the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month because it commemorates the immigration of the first Japanese people to the United States on May 7th of 1943, and also acknowledges Golden Spike Day on May 10th, marking the completion of the transcontinental railroad built with significant contribution by Asian Pacific Americans. Now, therefore, on behalf of the mayor, Rita Lee, we do recognize the May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Asian Americans remain the fastest growing demographic in the city of Peoria. Our next proclamation recognizes Building Safety Month. Councilmember Vespa will share that. We would ask Director Doolin, Director of Community Development, and Rich Storm, our Building Safety Manager, to come forth. And that doesn't look like Rich Storm.
He is unfortunately sick this evening, so.
Okay, Chief Saulberger, standing in. Thank you. Councilmember Vespa?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas the City of Peoria Building Safety Division of the Community Development Department recognizes that a safe and resilient built environment provides a foundation for economic growth, community vitality, and public safety. And whereas confidence in Peoria's built environment supports business development, neighborhood revitalization, and job creation, and is made possible through the expertise and commitment of building and code enforcement inspectors, fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, and others who ensure construction meets modern safety and performance standards. And whereas building safety is an essential component of maintaining public health, and building safety plays a major role in not only protecting our community members, but also protecting the property values of our city and reducing blight throughout our community. And whereas the theme of Building Safety Month 2026 is Built to Last, highlighting the importance of safe, sustainable, and resilient building practices. And whereas the consistent enforcement of modern building safety codes protects property values, strengthens communities, and ensures that Peoria remains a competitive and desirable place to live, work, and invest. Now, therefore, I, Rita Ali, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby recognize the month of May as Building Safety Month in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 12th day of May, 2026 AD.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Council. So May is Building Safety Month. Appreciate the recognition of kind of one of the main focuses of one of our divisions with the city of Peoria. And, I see how hard they work every day, our building safety staff, to really, they take pride in knowing when people go into buildings in the city of Peoria, there's emergency exits, the sprinkler system is working, everything is built to code. I think a lot of our citizens really appreciate that. Sometimes they take it for granted when they go to a building, they don't have to worry about those things. And so the staff quite doesn't get the credit I think they deserve sometimes. So it's always nice this month to recognize them. If you follow us on our Instagram and Appreciate Peoria, or you go to the City of Peoria's Facebook, we'll be highlighting some of that work all month, and just kind of a reminder. So just kind of want to thank our building safety manager, Rich Storm, our building inspectors, Shane Wooden, Craig Reed, Matt Ziller, Isaac Garcia, and Julio Garcia. And then I asked the fire chief to join me. It really is a team effort with his staff and working with us. So I'm going to pass the mic quickly over to him, but thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. We have the pleasure of working with Director Doolin and his staff on a daily basis. So our prevention division led by Chief Nate Rice, but the people that work hand in hand with Director Doolin and his staff would be Ryan Harris, who's Fire and Life Safety Code Inspector, and Aaron Sapinski, who does a majority of the inspections for solar panel. And just wanted to say thank you for the recognition. I know a lot of these people work kind of in the shadows behind the scenes, and they definitely do not get the recognition that they deserve. Thank you.
It's true. Thank you both. Our next proclamation recognizes National Public Works Week. Councilman Euler is going to share the proclamation, and we'll ask Public Works Director Rick Powers and Public Works Deputy Director Cy Marone to come forth, please. Councilman Euler.
Okay. Whereas Public Works professionals serve our community through the planning, designing, construction, maintenance, and operation of critical infrastructure, facilities, and services that are essential to a sustainable and resilient city, protecting public health and safety, and enhancing the quality of life for the people of the city of Peoria. And whereas these vital infrastructure systems and services include streets, sidewalks, public buildings, and other essential public assets that are made possible by the dedicated efforts of public works professionals. Engineers, supervisors, and maintenance personnel work tirelessly to build, improve, and safeguard the city for current and future generations. And whereas it is important for residents to understand the essential services that public works professionals deliver to make cities function and thrive, and recognize the value that public works programs provide to their communities. And whereas 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association, now therefore Rita Ali, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, does hereby designate the week of May 17th through May 23rd as National Public Service Week in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 12th day of May 2026.
Mayor, Council, thank you. First day I came here, there used to be a podium right there. And the former mayor asked me to say a few words to introduce myself, and that night I said, the thunder doesn't steal the lightning, and they're behind me. So I'm not going to say much other than well, yes, I have. Not since I left the United States Marine Corps have we done so much with so little. Meaning they were little, and got a lot done. These folks behind me care more probably than anybody that I've worked with in government. I've done it my entire adult life. And I'm honored to serve with them. They do everything that you read. You notice they didn't say the director. It said operations, engineers, all of those people. That's who does it. And they do it from the urban forest to the center line of the road. Every day, all day, 24/7. Snow, rain, ice, we could do the mailman thing. We could do it all. Public Works does that quietly and professionally. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Cy, because I've also never seen anybody that loves Peoria more than this gentleman. And just absolutely dedicated to service to all of you and the public. So I'm getting emotional even talking about the guy. But it's good to feel good and what we're doing, and a lot of things are happening around us, as you know, relative to what's happening with Public Works. So I will stand back. I'm sorry, you're going to talk about open house? All right, and I'm not even going to mention that. Thank you very much. Si, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and all the guests in the House. Just want to thank you again. We do this annually, but we think it's important that we get this recognition annually because our work never stops. It's around the clock, it's on the weekends, it's on the holidays. These folks back here don't think twice about not doing the work, okay? These guys and their crews are the frontline folks that get it done. And I mean, now listen, we're human. We want you to hold us accountable. If there's something that needs to be done, feel free to call. We do get some calls, but we would accept the rest of you. If you see something, let us know and we'll get it handled. So anyway, just wanted to put that little plug in there. But anyway, I want to introduce the folks that are here tonight with me. We invited some of our staff and their families, family members, to come on down and be recognized because it seems like Rick and I stand here often, and as he said, you know, it's these guys that get it done. So we've got in the crowd here, we've got Chris Cummings, he's a supervisor, Gary Turner, supervisor. We've got Corey Mack, he's a staff member. Frankie Williams, he is a foreman, which is on the edge of supervision, yes. And I believe that's all we have here. So anyway, we want to thank you again, and really when I say they, I mean the crews. They are the ones that make us look good. Okay, so very proud of them and what they do on a regular basis. And I just want to thank you guys again, and have a good evening.
We thank each of you for all that you do for our city. Thank you.
This is our last chance to be in front of you, I think, here. But as Rick said, the open house is May 21st. You're all invited out to Drees Lane for the open house from 4 to 7. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your support of the city. Thank you so much. Our next proclamation recognizes Poppy Days. Got my poppy here somewhere. Poppy Days. And it's going to be shared by Council Member Dr. Bernice Gordon-Young. We have Gary Hall of American Legion Post 2 and Phil Burnett of American Legion Post 2. Or maybe just Gary.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find out what happened to Phil.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Whereas Poppy Days are a time to honor those who have fallen while also representing a sign of hope and renewal for the living. The poppy flower is worn as a symbol to honor the dead, while also representing a sign of hope and renewal for the living. All the poppy flowers that are distributed among communities are assembled with pride by America's righteous disabled veterans. And whereas from the battlefields of World War I, weary soldiers brought home the memory of a barren landscape transformed by wild poppies, red as the blood that has soaked the soil. By that miracle of nature, the spirit of their lost comrades lived on. The poppy became a symbol of the sacrifice of lives in war and represented the hope that none had died in vain. And whereas the American Legion Auxiliary poppy has continued to bloom for the casualties of all wars, its petals of paper bound together for the veterans by veterans, reminding America each year that the men and women who have served and died for their country deserve to be remembered. And whereas identifying the poppy as a memorial flower can be attributed to Mona Michael, when in 1918 she was so moved by the poem In Flanders Fields that she wrote this response: "That blood of heroes never dies, but lends a luster for the red of the flower that blooms above the dead in Flanders Fields." Whereas she purchased a bouquet of poppies and asked her colleagues to wear them as a tribute to the fallen. Later, she advocated for the adoption of the poppy as the national symbol of sacrifice. And whereas the American Legion and the American Legion Auxiliary unite in their efforts to keep the memory alive of those who perished while serving. in addition to honoring those who served. All donations go to the Illinois Veterans Home in Manteno, Danville, Quincy, LaSalle, and gifts to the Yanks. Now therefore, Rita Ali, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby acknowledge May 14th, 15th, and 16th as Poppy Days here in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 12th day of May 2026 AD.
Thank you very much. It's always an honor to get these proclamations every year and let everybody know about Poppy Days. Whenever you see a veteran out there with poppies, take a poppy, give a donation, because all that money goes, just like what she said, the nursing homes and whatever. We like to help them out. I'm awestruck by all my employees right here. I'm a voter, and myself and my neighbors have hired all you. I like the job you're doing so far. Keep it up, and thank you very much.
Thank you for your service, Garrett. Our final proclamation recognizes Sterling Middle School varsity boys basketball team. Excuse me. Councilwoman Jackson will read the proclamation. We have Tion McCrutchen, head coach of Sterling Middle School varsity basketball, boys basketball team, and Lynn Lane, who is the Sterling Middle School principal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas the Sterling Middle School varsity boys basketball team demonstrated outstanding dedication, perseverance, and sportsmanship throughout the 2025-2026 season. And whereas through discipline, teamwork, and commitment to excellence, the team exemplified the highest standards of athletic performance and character. And whereas the players, coaches, and support staff worked tirelessly to achieve success, representing their school and community with pride and dignity. And whereas the team's hard work and determination culminated in the exceptional achievement of winning the Peoria Public Schools District 150 City Championship. And whereas this accomplishment serves as an inspiration to fellow students, athletes, and the broader community, highlighting the values of teamwork, resilience, and leadership. Now, therefore, Rita Ali, the mayor of the city of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby celebrate the accomplishments of the Sterling Middle School varsity boys basketball team in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 12th day of May, 2026 AD. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Coach McCrutchen, you want to speak, and Miss Lane?
Yes, how you doing, Miss Mayor Ali? It's Tion McCutcheon. I know it's kind of hard to pronounce, but I want to just say it's a pleasure, it's a blessing being here with you guys. Me and my teammates and my principal and my assistant coach, we thank you guys for bringing us here today. These boys, they've been with me a long time. We've been rocking and rolling in the gyms. I got 11 boys that's standing behind me that's not outside in them streets, that's not terrorizing anything. I treat them like they're my own, so I make sure they all taken care of. Pretty much, Principal Lane, she gave me the keys to the sports at Sterling. I coach girls softball, boys baseball, girls basketball, boys basketball. And my achievement, I can say I honestly just got hired to coach head basketball for freshman boys basketball at Central High School now. So it's a lot of accomplishments, and I also just want to thank God for everything and thank you guys as well.
Congratulations. Wow.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. I just want to give a shout out to all of the gentlemen behind me and our coach. It has been a blessing. They've worked hard. They really have shown positive sportsmanship, and they are dedicated and they have a bright future ahead of them. And so it's a blessing to see them being recognized for something that they love and putting their heart and soul into it. We always say student before athlete. So they have been doing what they need to do in school in order to make sure that they're on the court, staying out of trouble and being their very best. So thank you for this honor and this opportunity to come out tonight.
Very beautiful. Thank you. Hi, guys. You're welcome. Madam Clerk.
We are at the approval of the minutes.
Councilmember Rickenbach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve the minutes of the City Council meeting held April 28th, 2026 as printed.
Seconded by Councilmember Valpula. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Councilmember Allen.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk. Can somebody pull that door? Thank you.
Okay. We are at the town board portion of the agenda. The first item is a public hearing. 26-96 is a public hearing regarding the 2026-2027 budget for the town of the city of Peoria, and we need a motion to open the public hearing.
Can I get a motion to open, trustees? Moved by trustee Gordon Young, seconded by trustee Carmona. Any questions? Please cast your ballots. Trustee Allen?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Wasn't on. My fault, not Paul's. Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. This public hearing is there anyone here that wants to speak to the public hearing regarding the 2026-2027 budget for the town of the city of Peoria? Again, is there anyone that wants to speak regarding the 2026-2027 budget for the town of the city of Peoria? And finally, is there anyone that wants to speak regarding the 2026-2027 budget for the town of the city of Peoria? Can I get a motion to, okay, are you wanting to speak? Yes. Please come forth.
McNeil, I just want to say you guys are great. We trust you, so make up your minds and we'll believe in you.
Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? Moved by trustee Kelly, seconded by trustee Euler. Please cast your ballots. Trustee Allen?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We are at the consent portion of the agenda for the town board. 26-97 is a request from the town officials to approve the April 2026 actual expenditures and to approve the May 2026 anticipated expenditures for the town of the city of Peoria. 26-98 is a resolution authorizing the town of the city of Peoria to enter into a payroll services agreement with ADP LLC with request to approve. 26-99 is a resolution for the town of the city of Peoria authorizing township officials to continue a loss control policy with Torma and to enter into a contract of insurance with request to approve. 26-100 is a resolution consenting to the employment of Mesher, Reinhardt, and Redling Schaefer PC as town attorneys with request to approve. 26-101 is a resolution consenting to the employment of Clifton Larson Allen LLP as outside independent auditors with request to approve. 26-102 is a resolution authorizing the town of the city of Peoria to make a donation to the Center for Prevention of Abuse with request to approve and to receive and file the letter included with the resolution. 26-103 is a resolution authorizing the town of the city of Peoria to make a donation to Friendship House of Christian Service with request to approve and to receive and file the letter included with the resolution. 26-104 is a resolution authorizing the town of the city of Peoria to enter into an agreement with Heartland Clinic with request to approve and to receive and file the letter included with the resolution. 26-105 is a resolution authorizing the town of the city of Peoria to make a donation to Peoria Grown with request to approve and to receive and file the letter included with the resolution. 26-106 is a resolution designating the time, place, and date of the 2027 annual town meeting with request to approve. And finally, 26-107 is a resolution designating individuals to prepare the budget and appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2027-2028 with request to approve. And that concludes our consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Again, these are all town items. Trustees, is there any item that you want to remove from consent? Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Trustee Sears, seconded by Trustee Carmona. Any discussion? Please cast your ballots. Trustee Allen?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
Continuing with the town agenda, we're at regular business. 26-108 is a request from town officials to approve a resolution certifying the submission of an advisory question of public policy to electors at the November 3rd, 2026 general election approved by the town electors at the April 14th, 2026 annual town meeting.
Can I get a, can I get a motion to approve this item? Okay, moved by Trustee Euler, seconded by Trustee Riggenbach. Any discussion? Please cast your ballots. Trustee Allen?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Is my mic on? Yeah, it won't light up for some reason.
(26-109) is the annual town budget and appropriation ordinance for 2026-2027 with request to adopt.
Okay. May I have a motion, trustees, to approve? Moved by Trustee Jackson, seconded by Trustee Kelly. Any discussion? Please cast your ballots. Trustee Allen?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
We are at the city portion of the agenda. We're at the consent agenda. 26-110 is a communication with a request to approve existing liability insurance coverages, cyber liability coverage, crime coverage, and service fee with the city's existing broker of record, Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services. 26-111 is a communication with a request for the following. A, approve an agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the city's participation in D4 traffic signals 2026 in various counties. And B, approve a funding resolution for the city's cost participation in the D4 traffic signals 2026 in the amount of $24,150 plus contingencies. 26-112 is a communication with a request to approve a state motor fuel tax resolution for the Reservoir Boulevard from the railroad tracks to Sterling Avenue reconstruction project in the amount of $11,300. 26-113 is a communication with a request to adopt an ordinance accepting the contract and bylaws document of the Intergovernmental Personnel Benefit Cooperative and authorized membership in the IPBC for the City of Peoria. And 26-114 is a reappointment by Mayor Ali to the Police Pension Fund Board of Trustees with a request to concur of Norman Burdick, and that concludes our consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any items to remove from consent? Councilmember Seer,
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to approve consent agenda.
is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Kelly. Is there any discussion? Please cast your ballots. Councilmember Allen,
Aye.
Councilmember Regenbach. Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We are at regular business. 26-115 is a communication from the city manager and assistant city manager with a request to adopt an ordinance authorizing the establishment of a tax increment financing interested parties registry and adoption of registration rules for such registries for the proposed Main Street TIF district.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have been looking at the establishment of a TIF district that would run basically from Carle Healthcare and UEComp below the bluff up along West Main to Bradley University's campus. It would not include there are some Bradley University parcels that would be included, but not the entire campus. As we've looked at development along West Main, we really feel that this is a tool that can help us for redevelopment purposes. The timing was right for us to look at this with the efforts of yourself, with the Mayor's Institute for Community Design that looked at Main Street as one area for us to really focus our efforts, as well as the Greater Peoria Leadership Council has presented a kind of a heightened focus of this area as well as downtown. And then with the efforts that Bradley University is undertaking as well with on the campus. So we felt that the timing was right to look at starting this. This is really the first step in the creation of the TIF process. This just establishes the registry. So the registry is for people that want to stay informed about what is going on with the TIF. They can sign up for the registry and then they'll get all of the correspondence that will go forward. The timeline to establish the TIF will run probably until late August or early September before we would actually have approval.
Great. Excited. Any questions for the manager? Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Manager, could you just share a little bit about how this would impact Council District 1?
So I think that when we were originally looking at this, that it stated Council District 1, but I think that it's entirely in Council District 2.
Oh, okay. So that's a typo?
That's a typo.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. You're very welcome. Councilmember Seer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to adopt this ordinance.
Seconded by Councilmember Gordon Young. Continued discussion. Councilmember Regenbach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Manager, on a related but not directly related any movement from the state on the money that they've allocated to us for Main Street?
No, we continue to reach out and have conversations with the state and urge that the money get released as soon as possible, but at this time, there's nothing.
That will also be a huge benefit for that area once that gets done. So thank you for that update.
Okay, no further discussion. Please cast your ballots. Councilmember Allen,
Aye.
motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
26-116 is a communication from the City Manager and Finance Director Comptroller with a request to receive and file the month ended March 31, 2026 unaudited financial report.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to turn the floor over to our Finance Director, Kyle Craddy.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. In your packet is the month ended March 31st financial report. Just a few of the highlights. Looking at the overall revenue picture in the general fund, we're 14% lower than anticipated from budget, and also slightly down about 3% year over year. Because of really the limited amount of collections that we have in the general fund right now, we can't have these fluctuations that occur. Really looking at, maybe if there's a tax that we've not collected at this point. And so it's not necessarily alarming at this point. What I would draw the council's attention to kind of discuss that a little bit would be kind of pages 5, 6, and 7 in the packet. That looks at really the cash side of our larger revenue sources, so our sales taxes and our income taxes. And the trend continues to be in a positive fashion year over year for the city. So keeping in mind that really through March, we have not articulated any sales tax numbers into the general fund budget. That is why I don't have necessarily major concerns at this point on the revenue side that I would want to talk to the council about at this point. On the expenditure side, expenditures are down 2.4% compared to budget, but are up 11.7% compared to last year. Some of that is related to really with our pension obligations, we had some larger transfers that were going to be occurring from the general fund to the pension side. And so since we do those on a 1/12 basis every month, it's just meaning we have a larger amount that's being contributed on a monthly basis. Really with that, if the council has any other specific questions to the report, really nothing at this point is giving me pause yet. It's something we continue to monitor, kind of in what appears to be some kind of a growing inflationary world again. So it'll be something we continue to monitor and keep council informed.
Thank you, Director Craddy. Any questions? Can I get a motion? Councilmember Seer?
Since my colleague, Mr. Riggenbach, asked a question earlier, grants that were promised to us last year, I know I've seen in your notes somewhere that the first 3 months of this year when we get paid or we get a receipt can go in or backdated to 2025. Tell me about grants that were promised and to us but have not been paid yet. How do you account for those in your books?
So with grants, usually it's a year-end entry that how we account for the revenue side on the grants is tied to having the necessary expenditures to meet those amounts of the revenue. So for example, if we have $1 million grant and we have expended $500,000, we will have $500,000 in revenue in 2025, and then we'll have $500,000 in revenue when we get the grant money in the next year. And so that's usually how those work from a grant perspective.
Tell us about the expense then. It's all accounted in the previous year?
So it'll be I guess we'll just take the Exposition Gardens grant in particular. That grant will show the expenditure of the purchase of the property last year. We will also have the revenue showing to an equal amount in last year. we will have then a receivable amount for the remaining portion of the grant that will articulate as revenue once we have expenditures associated with it.
Thank you, sir. Madam Mayor, move to receive and file.
Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Gordon Young. Any other discussion? Councilmember Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dr. Creddy, I should have called you about this. The local sources at the front end of the report, by my rough calculations, show about $600,000 increase over last year. But in local taxes, our actual versus last year's actual is actually up around 100,000. So, and you know, real estate taxes are in and whatnot. What is not showing in there that accounts for this differential?
Really at this point in the year, the main local sources revenue that we have at this point is going to be hotel, restaurant, amusement taxes. We may have things like franchise fees or any of our utility tax revenue that we get. And so really that $100,000 variance year over year could really be, you know, when did we get maybe a large hotel that paid their February collections due in March? We can have variations of that amount month to month that happens off of.
So the HRA taxes are not part of the bar graph that shows local sales taxes?
Correct. And no, that is simply just the 1.75% that we have for sales tax is the home rule side. The sales tax is the 1% that's remitted by the state to us on sales.
Okay. Thank you, Director Craddy. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. We have a motion and a second to receive and file. Please cast your ballots. Councilmember Allen?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We're at unfinished business. 26-56 is a communication from the City Manager and Corporation Council with a request to consider the site application for a Class C1 packaged goods liquor license for the retail sale of alcohol at Midwest USA, Inc., doing business as King Zone, 2411 North Knoxville Avenue, with a recommendation from the Liquor Commission to deny.
Council Hayes?
Thank you,
Get
Your
us
Honor.
started.
Thank you. As the council will recall, this has been on the agenda a few times. The proprietor would like to add liquor sales. Councilman Carmona asked that I prepare a plan of operations, which has been part of the council packet as well for the council's consideration. The Liquor Commission, as well as our police department, have recommended denial because we've struggled with liquor uses in many areas of town, and this is one of them. And we have been consistent with that position as a staff for liquor uses in this area. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Councilmember Carmona?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I get started, I got a request just before I got here from a citizen who wanted to say something before we took a vote. So could we give the privilege of the floor to Darcy Katie, please?
Yeah, I think there may be more than one. Councilmember Jackson also had a request.
Okay.
So Ms. Darcy, you want to come up? Sure.
Good evening, Council, and thank you, Madam Mayor, Dr. Ali. So I'm here tonight to express my sincere support of a local small business, King Zone Grocery and Grill, in receiving its liquor license. So I believe that the owner, Mike, deserves this opportunity to continue expanding the goods in his business that he offers because he's consistently proven that he is a responsible owner, along with deep ties to his community and a true commitment commitment to the community in which he serves. We've witnessed this firsthand through Mike's efforts, both with beautifying and modernizing the exterior of his building, as well as the interior of his business. Everything from updated paintwork, new signage, as well as landscape garden beds, along with the inside of his grocery store and grill featuring a wide selection of household essentials and paper products, including beverages, snacks, spices, refrigerated items, and frozen foods. With a promising future partnership with a local grower to offer a healthy selection of fruits and veggies too. Mike and his beloved little bodega are the real deal. And to ensure that he is acting within the best interest of our community, he has agreed willingly and supportively to several strict conditions requested by this council in order to receive approval. They include hard liquor must remain behind the counter, no sale of liquor, shooters, or single cans of beer, participation in a $900 annual camera access program for Peoria Police, along with all conditions having to remain in place even if ownership should change. I think we'd all be hard-pressed to find any business owner that would operate a grocery store, name its business as such, as well as agree to such strict special conditions for a license simply to prove its loyalty and commitment remaining a grocery store as a ploy to possibly open solely a liquor store. Not only would it be a terrible business model, but I do believe it would be an unsuccessful one too. The very reason King's Own Grocery and Grill is seeking to expand its goods and offer a greater selection to the public is simply to remain financially stable and competitive in a market that is slowly decreasing, along with serving its customers goods and services that they want and need. Clearly, I should have ate before I came. Thank you all for your patience. So this concept is not new. It's genuinely the cornerstone of capitalism, and it most certainly should not be seen as a community safety concern. I ask that while our safety concerns of our community constituents and well-being are very real and something we must all consider and agree upon, the important distinction in this decision lies within who is responsible for that. The truth is that there is not one single person, business, or corporation, but all of us together as a collective society that dictate and determine our safety and well-being. I truly believe that this grocery store can continue to bring positivity and healthy foods to our community. Thank you.
Councilmember Jackson, you had a person that.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to ask Jesse McGowan to please come up, and I would like to ask him a few questions before he makes his comments about his concerns in regards to this particular project. Thank you, Mr. McGowan. Could you tell us, first of all, how long have you lived on the East Bluff?
40 years.
40 years.
Yes.
So having been a resident that long, you have been witnesses to the previous conditions as well as the improvements that have taken place on the East Bluff. Would you mind sharing some of those with us tonight?
Yeah, where do I start? I mean, if it's happened on East Bluff, I was probably involved. Running basketball programs when everybody said it shouldn't be done. I have 300 or 400 kids out there. I'm the only adult out. I run popsicle program. I stood up a popsicle program. I had end of school year bash. I've done work with gardens, community centers. I mean, if you name it. I mean, I've seen East Bluff at its best. I've seen it at its worst. And it's getting bad again. It's getting real bad again. And I'm going to discuss what as just a counselor. I'm going to talk to y'all about that. But this right here now, this grocery store is going to undo everything we have thought about doing, if you want to call it a grocery store. I mean, this liquor store is really. Many things, I just wrote out 3 major things, try to cover everything. First of all, this so-called agreement. Any first-year law school to tear that thing up. Because first of all, keep the liquor out of sight. Who cares? That's what they're going to do it anyway. Most liquor stores anyway, otherwise going to get stolen. The lights and the camera, who's that for? It's for the purpose of that. No one has said what this liquor store is going to add to the community except alcohol. We're talking about an agreement. How many of y'all remember Gary Sandberg when he was on his council? He's talking about how remember Sterling Avenue Liquor got started? He's talking about it all the time as a grocery store. He said a month later when there wasn't but a week old bananas in there. You cannot, once you make a site application, which I'm sure most of you know this, when you make a site application available for liquor, you can't just take it away because this guy don't keep his freezer full. It's not that simple. You know, and the police could tell you it's much easier to get a license than to get rid of one once they get it. It's hard to get rid of them. So these things we need to take into consideration. A liquor store in this area here is devastating. So that's one of the things. The second thing is the neighbors don't want it. I have talked to every homeowner in that area. I haven't found the closest endorsement I found yet is one lady told me, I don't care what they do down there, I'm not going that way anyhow. That's the closest endorsement I've come to a homeowner. The neighborhood association that's located in, the one who was at the night there, I just talked to the lady today. Not only are they strenuously objected, she went in the store, her and the vice president went in the store the other night. Now she's written a letter to the health department about the food that's in there, the food we're supposed to be selling. She's done a letter to the health department right now about the food that's in that store, how it's overdue, past the sale date, still on the shelves. This is not a grocery store, y'all. This is a liquor store, and it's like having a fire that's dying down. Now you're going to pour gasoline on it. It's ridiculous. Putting alcohol in this area, and I don't understand why. I mean, one city councilman, I know he knows better. I don't know, maybe y'all need to impeach him or something. I don't know what's my putting problem is, but why you put a liquor store in this area here, I don't have the slightest idea. But the second thing is, what would you do? If this area was this liquor store was in your area, would you approve it? I don't think so. Because I remember a few of y'all remember back here, I think last year, when there was a short-term rental that was opening up in my councilman's near his house. He almost had an anxiety attack trying to figure out what to do with that. Can you imagine if that same homeowner said, look here, I want to put a liquor store here, what he would have said? He would have had a heart attack. The two councilmen talk about this splits their district, but neither one of them lives anywhere in the vicinity of it. So the point is, the liquor commission doesn't want it. The police doesn't want it. The businesses in that area are petrified, especially the McDonald's and the service station across the street are petrified because they're going to have those the people that are the panhandlers. Now they can walk across the street to get their liquor, they're right back there again. Those cameras that he has are only going to protect his property. That's not going to protect the public. There's nothing protecting us. That neighborhood association is against it. My neighborhood association, we're directly across the street from there. That's my neighborhood association. We weren't even notified of this. So, but I tested all 8 of the members of the board of directors and the officers unanimously, vehemently against it. Not even close. This is a mistake. I don't know why. I'd like you. Not only you do this, I'd like you to make a moratorium. No liquor establishment south of McClure Avenue in or around these bluffs. Anything else you add to the problem, it's going to get rough. It's going to get much worse. So I would like this to be a 9-2 vote. As a matter of fact, you make it 11-1 because I think one of them will change his mind. But let's vote this down so the rest of them out there that's looking at this tonight won't get idea. Hey, look here, this was close. Maybe we tweak this. We might be able to get one because this going to open up the floodgates if it's anywhere close. So let's vote this down, get it over with. I don't know why it's been here 3 times, but I just hope this will be the last time. Thank you.
Mr. McGowan, I do have one other question for you. You have been hosting an annual event every year for young people. How many years has that taken place, and why did you decide to do that?
End of the school year bash. My thing was when I started to do that, when these kids going out in the summer times, there was nothing going on. I mean, especially then. And I said, well, let's find something for them to do. So we started having the end of the school year bash. Everybody have a back to school, going back to school, everybody give a book bag, but nobody was doing anything for going back. And I remember when I came back out of Vietnam, there was nothing. There was nobody there that told me to do anything. Okay, I was taught to go here, kill. Now I'm out here in the street now. So I go kill somebody, now I go to the penitentiary. So I said, look here, let me try to do something for these kids when they get out of school so they don't go back to the same old thing they do. So not only at the end of the school year back, but every day, kids got my house, got a free popsicle. They have to reaffirm every day. I got 5 rules up here. One says, the 5 of them says, good student, honest, respectful, litter free, and reminder to your friends. I mean, if you're with your friend, they're doing something crazy. If you don't remind them, you don't get a popsicle either. And I can tell you right now, that kids would rather get suspended from school than suspended for popsicles. Because this is something they have to make their commitment every time. So I get the commitment every day. So I know what I'm talking about. With these young people in these bluffs, I'll tell you right now, if you put alcohol in there, and don't because they're not 18, don't mean they're going to drink. They're going to get it. All of them got 21-year-old friends. If you put alcohol in there, you're not only damaging the young men, but you're damaging the kids too. And these kids are already crazy. I mean, they're doing some crazy things out there. So we need to be guiding them in the right way, and putting a liquor store in the middle of a volatile neighborhood is not the way to teach our kids. So I'm hoping y'all don't have any more discussion after this tonight. Just let's this thing go.
Thank you, Mr. McGowan. If I could just add to his comments, he said, and I believe wholeheartedly, this would not only open up the floodgates, but this would set a dangerous precedent, because we would then have 5, 6, 7 other business owners in and around that area that will come looking for the same opportunity. And how would we explain that to them? And as a district council person, there are examples not only in my district, but all around the city where we have seen the negative impact of these corner stores that sell liquor. There's litter, there's loitering, there's all kinds of long-term residual problems that arise as a result of this. And for those reasons and others that Mr. McGowan has stated, Madam Mayor, I will not be supporting this at all. This is bad for the community.
Okay. Councilmember Gordon Young.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would first like to remind the council of the more appropriate verbiage, and let's not call this a grocery store. It is a convenience store, and it is in the middle of a food desert and requires more food. And even when it comes to like the opportunities for expanding this business, square footage wise, unless there's going to be additional building attached to it, there isn't a lot of room for growth, particularly if we're talking about 4 or 5 refrigerators of liquor. So that's a concern. The second is typically in convenience stores, the items are priced higher. So that's a margin of an opportunity for a financial benefit for the owner. I want to be clear that this is not about not supporting business owners. I am certainly in favor of supporting business owners, but I'm not in favor of supporting ideals that don't align with the community, the culture of this community. One where there is a children's home nearby, we have the school, and quite frankly, we have residents who live there. It's one thing to make decisions, then we go home to our neighborhoods and we don't have to walk that block, or our children don't have to go that way to go to school. When I make decisions, I make them as though I live right there. And I wouldn't want it, especially and specifically because of all of the danger that was previously involved in that area. It is not eliminated, it's reduced, but it's certainly not eliminated. And I don't see this decision to approve as something that's going to be beneficial. And then I'm a little confused because at some point, this is for you, Councilmember Carmona, I recall you saying, well, what about just beer and wine? In some way, at some point, hard liquor got in the conversation behind the counter. And I don't know if you just slid that in the last council member or a council meeting, but I didn't hear that until then. So that's concerning. It's like, what else are we gonna sneak in? What else is gonna happen? Again, I just cannot support something like this. I make decisions as though I live there. It's easy to make decisions for somebody else. This is not about not supporting business. It's about supporting public safety and quality of life for those individuals who live there. I will not be supporting this. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilmember Vespa.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a site application, so I just want to say this is nothing against the applicant or proprietor of the store, but very simply, making liquor more accessible in a high crime area is just a bad idea. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilmember Carmona.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to address first off Councilwoman Gordon Young's question about the liquor behind the counter. It was my understanding when I first talked to the owner that he was okay with just beer, in a limited amount of beer in the cooler, but he is really struggling to keep this open, and so he asked me if I would put it into the plan to have liquor and only behind the counter, because he understands the safety concerns behind it as well. So that's why I added it to the plan of operations. I want to also address some of the concerns that Mr. McGowan said, which he was at the neighborhood association meeting for the Heart of Peoria, along with Councilman Riggenbach. There was an officer there, a neighborhood officer, a sergeant, the King Zone owner. Lamia was there from the community development department. And then there was one additional resident there that was in favor of giving this owner a chance. And aside from that, it was the two only present members from the Heart of Peoria Association, the president and the vice president. Now, you all received an email from the Heart of Peoria Association recommending we deny this. And I just want to address some of the allegations that were made, because the email said that there appeared to be food that was expired. But I'm telling you right now, for the past 6 months, my wife and I have been walking in there and getting grocery items just to try to support him. And we look for these things intentionally as well, and we have not seen any of this. So if there's any pictures for proof or anything like that, I would love to see it. The other concern that they had too was the fact that they saw some mixed packaging from different stores. Now, this kind of made me think about it as well. So I called the store owner and he said, yeah, every once in a while, the Walmart or Kroger will have cheaper goods than the retailer that he gets his goods from. And according to the Illinois Department of Public Health, that is completely legal to do for a small store. You can go into a Walmart or whatever and get cheap goods and resell them, so long as you have a legitimate business to do so, which he does. Now, additionally, on top of this, there was actually a really good conversation that we had at the Heart of Association meeting, and the two officers, one of them was asked a direct question by the opposer, but first off, the neighborhood officer said that she had seen minimal loitering there compared to the way it used to be, because of the way it looks now, because of the improvements. The sergeant was actually questioned and was asked if, even though he's not in charge of this, his own opinion, he was asked if he would allow this liquor to be sold there. And the officer said he would be more inclined to allow it in this location because most places don't allow the city or the police department to intrude into their surveillance system and surveil their area. And this operator is under very, very strict rules and is also wanting to get direction from the police department as to where to put cameras, not only on the inside, but on the outside, because after talking to the police department, I figured out that the only cameras in that area are on Knoxville and McClure and Knoxville, Nebraska. Everything else in between there, they don't really have eyes on the street. And this would actually be a sort of an asset for them for things that are going on in that neighborhood. Now, additionally, on top of that, you received another email from Peoria Grown. Julie lives in that direct area, and she was against it without ever having gone there. I met her there yesterday. She met the owner, and she realized that even though Councilwoman Gordon Young, you're right. This is not a Kroger. It's not a Hy-Vee. It is a sort of convenience store, but it has way more actual real food items than any convenience store. That area doesn't have anything like this in their stores. You walk into any of the stores in that area that say they have groceries, they don't. They have vape, they have tobacco, and they have a bunch of junk food. Now, this store has a little bit of the junk food as well, but it certainly has a lot of food that you can make complete meals with, which I have done and my wife has done. Like I said, because we're trying to support this man. So at the end of the discussion yesterday with Julie and Peoria Grown, we actually came out of it with a potential collaboration to get King Zone to have fresh fruits and vegetables, which he has tried before, but they're expensive to buy, they're hard to keep fresh, and still there's very minimal profits in them. So I'm hoping that as this moves along and the store does grow, not in size, but in what it carries, as far as more grocery items, because there is plenty of room to have a lot more merchandise, a lot more items in that store, that there could be a fruits and vegetable section if a collaboration is struck with Peoria Grown and with King Zone. So Peoria Grown is no longer against this because they actually went there and realized what was happening. And I'd say the main reason that Julie changed her mind was not only because she thought, she met the owner and found him to be very genuine, but also because of this really strong plan of operations that we have. And I'm just going to run through it really quickly. So some of the key points is, let's see here. The hard liquor shall be stored behind the counter, behind the register area. There's only going to be 5 refrigerator cabinets or refrigerator doors that are allowed to have packaged beer in them. The rest of the 31 coolers are still going to be reserved for anything else except alcohol. Even though there's a grill in there, there's no consumption of alcohol allowed on the premises. Number 5 explains the very strict conditions of the security system that he needs to have, where to put them, entrances, exits, color, it has to be in color, 780p or better resolution. It has to record for a certain amount of time, and it has to be accessible to the police department. Employees are going to have to complete Bassett training within 30 days of the agreement in order to sell the alcohol, to make sure they know what to look out for and make sure that they're selling only to qualified buyers. Building code requirements, simple. Number 8 says the licensee shall clean all adjacent parcels of debris, garbage, and/or rubbish generated by licensee's operations. Such cleaning shall occur at the close of business daily so as not to constitute a nuisance. So not only does he have to clean his own property every single day to make sure that there's no litter, but the adjacent properties as well, which is something he's willing to do. No loitering sign, no smoking sign, and after talking to the operator, to the owner, he said he has a plan in place to make sure that he has the loitering under control and is not allowed at all, because he knows what that looks like and the stressor that would put on the area. Lighting for the parking lot is required. Bright LED white lighting is required to make sure that it's lit nice and bright at night. The last one, 13, just explains how he needs to pay the $900 fee yearly for the police department to be able to access his cameras. He's agreed to do so. The plan of operations is legally binding and will be enforced by the city of Peoria. If any of these details are not followed, then we will have the ability to suspend or revoke his license. And I know there's a process to do that, but if he's in direct violation of this, then this is what agreements are for. And finally, as Ms. Katie said, this is also going to follow to any owner that comes after him. And so this will never be a liquor store, not even close. The footprint of the actual liquor is probably 10% of the store. The liquor's only there just like the tiny amount of tobacco he has there. He's not selling a boatload of tobacco. It subsidizes his actual food that he's selling there. This is the same type of thing to help him get by and hopefully come up with a good plan with Peoria Grown to get a more diverse amount of goods in there. Madam Mayor, with all that said, I'd like to make a motion to approve site application with 2 amendments to the plan of operations. The amendments I would like to change, Council Hayes, are I would like to remove on item 2, it actually says 40 linear feet of shelving for him to actually put more stock on the floor. He said he doesn't need it. The coolers are just fine. So remove the 40 linear feet of shelving. And I'd also like to add language, as complicated as it may be, to prohibit the sale of 40-ounce or lower beer bottles. He's already made a commitment that he's not going to do it, but to make sure everybody is on the same page and he's held to this standard, I would like that to be added into the plan of operations as well.
So
Thank you, Madam
motion
Mayor.
made. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Riggenbach. Continued discussion. Councilmember Riggenbach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have to thank Councilman Carmona for taking such an active role in this. There's so many angles to look at this situation from, and my first reaction, like many of you, was no. Isn't that something that we have a reputation of saying is no? This alcohol in neighborhoods is always problematic, and it took some convincing for me to consider this as an alternative. The plan of operation is unbelievable, in my opinion, in addressing the concerns, putting the guidelines, putting the bumpers up to make sure that it stays in place. I actually did the math, and the amount of alcohol, beer coolers is 15%. So I don't think any liquor store would be able to operate with 15% of their cooler space being devoted to beer. I think the lighting is critical. If you drive by there, you see he's made improvements to the parking lot already. To put things like litter pickup in the plan of operation gives us actual teeth to this and isn't just a commitment from him. But the thing that I think is also underappreciated is the $900 annual fee he's going to pay to put in the Fusus cameras, which will give the police department direct access to his cameras whenever they ask. There's a lot of fear. There's talk about opening the floodgates. Well, I've walked in most of those convenience stores along Knoxville, and nothing compares to this. The Knoxville Food Mart is a fraction of the size, and you can barely walk through it. So if they want to put in a $900 investment with Fusus cameras, I mean, I am confident we have the ability to say no to the next guy, because this is such an unusual situation. You all saw the email from Peoria Grown, and Julie, I always get her name wrong, Elianthabi. And it was pretty direct to me. I mean, the one was directed to me, and my using the food desert as an excuse to allow liquor. And I had started to write an email back to her, but I called her instead, and we had an amazing conversation about the efforts that we've made in the East Bluff. And I took her back to the day that Kroger announced their closing of the Wisconsin store. And I was there with many of the neighborhood activists. We worked with Dream Center to get a shuttle bus working to assist the residents. Senator Kaler held a number of workshops throughout the neighborhood. We had public meetings. We had our economic development team reaching out to the major grocery chains. This is such a unique opportunity. And Darcy, thank you for your comments earlier in recognizing that we have a small business owner trying to make his neighborhood a better place. And whether the plan is the way that we would have envisioned it or not, the fact that he's now engaged with Peoria Grown, that he has now agreed to a plan of operation, I think he deserves that opportunity. And I don't say that lightly. I've been councilman of the East Bluff since 2009. So while I appreciate your comments, Councilwoman, I think I've got a pulse of what that neighborhood is all about. And even Children's Home, I've spoke with the director there multiple times throughout this thing. And he understands the plan of operation. He understands what we're doing. So I can understand the hesitation, but again, I would say that Councilman Carmona, you did a heck of a job putting this plan together and engaging them with Peoria Grown. I could just see them having that fresh fruit and vegetables there every Saturday, or whatever the plan is. I just think that this has the opportunity for something that could be a real example for us all in the future. So I will obviously be supporting this. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. I have a question for Council Hayes, and this is in regard to this small refrigerator space and this small shelf space for alcohol. So you put whatever amount can fit into the refrigerator, and you put whatever amount of liquor can fit into the shelf. What is stopping this owner from, after products begin to disappear, the alcohol from the refrigerator, from the shelf, what is stopping him from going to the back of the store, the storage, and refilling that? What's stopping him from doing that in this plan of operation?
Nothing, Your Honor. The plan wouldn't restrict them from restocking. It's just an attempt to limit the square footage or the use of floor space for the display of alcoholic beverages, and to leave the rest of the space for other grocery items. This technique is used, it's often an issue with convenience stores about limiting the square footage, the floor space, things like that of alcohol display. So I agree with you that that can be restocked. It won't affect in that regard the volume of alcohol that's sold at the store, but it would affect that there's other items that are displayed in the rest of the store. So whether that addresses the concerns, the policy issues the council wants to pursue, I don't know, but it's a common technique to limit that for that purpose. Thank you, Your Honor.
I understand. I consider it a facade. I mean, yeah, so you have small space that looks like you're not selling so much alcohol, but if you're continuing to restock that refrigerator, you're continuing to restock those shelves as it leaves the refrigerator, as it leaves the shelves, it's kind of a facade that you're just showing a small amount of space for alcohol. You could be selling a lot of alcohol, but it looks like you're selling a small amount of alcohol. I just want to say that I remain opposed to this. I don't know what's going to happen in the end result, but I remain opposed to this, and I remain in supportive of the denial by our Liquor Commission that whole process that we have set up. The denial that's recommended by our police department, they have very good reason for recommending of denial when crime calls have increased. They've doubled since this time last year. And one of the analysts I had him run a scenario of looking at this location and going out half a mile. Well, they went out half a mile perimeter, and crime calls have doubled this year, over this past year, compared to last year. So why do we want to put a liquor store, an establishment that sells liquor store, in an area where crime continues to increase? It just, honestly, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it why there's so much advocacy here for this. I honestly don't. And I know there's been some cosmetic improvements made to the exterior and maybe to the interior as well. But again, that's an investment. And maybe there's some sense of obligation because they've made some cosmetic improvements. But I don't think that that is justification for granting a site application for liquor in this location. Yes, the Heart of Peoria Neighborhood Association, people that live in this area that were represented by their president and vice president, they wrote a 2-page letter saying why they're opposed to a site application for liquor at this location. And yes, another resident, Julie, who is also affiliated with Peoria Grown, wrote a letter. She never wrote a letter saying she changed her mind. She wrote a letter saying she's adamantly opposed to it. And then other neighbors, some we've heard from and some we've gotten emails from with some serious concerns. And I've never seen this council ignore resident concerns at this level, police concerns at this level, our commission concerns at this level. And I think this sets a bad precedent. I really do. I'm concerned about why we're doing this. Children's Home, I met with Scurry, the CEO, today at noon, and he told me that he is adamantly opposed to this. Adamantly opposed to it. Yeah. He wasn't able to come tonight. And where's the owner? Is the owner here? We haven't seen this person. This owner, this has been on the agenda for I don't know how many times, maybe 4 times. We have not seen this person step up to answer any questions. Where is this person? Is he here tonight? If he's not here, I just want to finish saying what I'm saying. But again, this is kind of the invisible person who hasn't showed up to answer any questions. I don't know whether he lives in the neighborhood or he just sells products in the neighborhood. But again, that's my concern. And before I turn it over to you, Councilman Carmona, we had Councilwoman Gordon Young, whose light was on first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Carmona, I'm really not trying to pick on you. I'm not. But you just said some things and I'm like, well, that doesn't really drive the point. So, for example, the meeting that you were at when there was 2 officers or a neighborhood officer, and they said that they don't see crime or whatever it is, their opinion was. Well, that's just 2 officers, and it depends on what shift they work, right? And it depends on, the time of day. And also that's kind of like saying 7 out of 8 dentists recommend Colgate. There's like millions more, right? So that's that marketing thing that can throw people off and skew what the reality is. The other is, I didn't get that Julie approved either. What I got from that is her willingness to support this business owner, if possible, by providing fresh fruit and vegetables because there weren't any there. So that's what I got out of that, and that it was more focused on the food desert and the importance and significance of helping this business thrive, but not by importing or implanting liquor, but actually helping with fresh food items, which is what they really need. And then I just want to reiterate that there are places, other places not very far away, where the residents have been going to get liquor, and if denied, will continue to go get liquor. And unfortunately, Julie is not here to clarify, but based on my interpretation of the letter, and it sounds like other people as well, she did not say she was in support of liquor being in the store. She did say something about the communication could have been different from the start, but that's not what I got out of it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Welcome. Councilman Carmona?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a lot to answer to, so I'll try to get to all of them. I think I wrote them all down. First, this invisible store owner, as you say, is not that invisible if you go and check out what he actually has in his store. The reason he doesn't show up here or hasn't is because there's a language barrier, and he's afraid that he'll get berated the way a lawyer can berate and ask questions to a person who doesn't know how to legally defend themselves. Now, I am completely understanding of that, which is why I'm not knocking him for not being here. In fact, he asked me if he needed to be here. And I said, well, it's up to you, but he's, like I said, he's afraid he's going to get berated, and he's not going to know how to fully answer the question because of the language barrier. Councilwoman Gordon-Young, the officer's opinion is anecdotal, the same way the opinion of crime is anecdotal, okay? Crime calls, if you say, have gone up. Did a liquor store open up around there? What's making crime go up? To my knowledge, everything has been the same. So that is anecdotal evidence to me. Stocking the shelves, also, I wouldn't expect for us to approve a liquor license to stock shelves one time and then never be able to stock them again, the way any grocery gets stocked in any store. And Councilman Riggenbach, to your point about the 15%, I actually, maybe it's 15% of the doors, but the footprint of the actual store, it's got to be with all the liquor combined, it's got to be way less, probably less than 10%. Now, the reason we're advocating, those of us who have actually gone and looked at what he has, the reason we're advocating for it is because, is it worse to allow this good operator to prove himself, or would we elect to potentially let this business die, which it's on the precipice of, and blight and all the things that come along with vacancies could follow that too? I understand everybody's concern because of the bad experience that they had with the Walgreens there and the liquor that they sold, but there's a huge difference between the two. This is a good operator. Walgreens is a terrible operator because they have internal policies that allow you to steal. Go ahead and go in, steal whatever you want. The company allows it. That invites and breeds crime. That is not going to happen here. That is not the commitment I've gotten, and that's not what anything in this plan of operations says. If he violates any of these things, and I've told him directly, I'll be the first one, and I'm going to be checking on him all the time. I already do. I already go in there and help support his store. So I understand everybody's concerns. I'm not doing this to put anybody in danger, nor is Councilman Riggenbach. But we have done our homework, and we have gone and talked to him directly. So we know who he is, and we do trust him. I trust him. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. I have to say I totally disagree with your comments about Walgreens inviting people to steal and having policies that encourage people to steal. That's just erroneous. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Councilman. If we allowed everybody to sell alcohol because they feel like they're going to go out of business if they don't, there's a whole list of people that will say, if you don't let me sell alcohol, I'm going to go out of business. So that's a reason to support. That is not a reason to support a business, just because they might go out of business if they don't sell alcohol. That's not justification to me. So we have a motion on the floor, not to deny, but to approve. And we have a second. Please cast your ballots. Councilmember Allen?
No.
Motion passes with 5 nays: Jackson, Ali, Allen, Vespa, and Gordon Young. Madam Clerk?
We are at new business.
Is there any new business? There's no new business.
Okay. So then we are on to citizens' opportunity to address the city council. And in the meantime, we are passing out a handout from one of our citizens that we'll be referencing.
Hold. Are you Pat Palmer? Are you Pat Palmer? Okay. No, the card is for Pat Palmer. That's who I need to come forth.
Sorry, we're not used to this thing, so.
That's all right.
Hi. I am Pat Palmer. I want to thank the mayor, the city council, and the public for allowing me to speak tonight. I dropped off earlier today a binder that I had put together about my neighborhood and things that have happened with the Detweiler Playground. I live at 1419 Northeast Madison, which is right off the corner of Caroline and Madison. So I can go like this, and I can see right down to the marina, and have been able to. My late husband and I moved into the neighborhood in 1976. We moved into our house in 1978. So I've been there a while, being able to see that beautiful marina, that restful place, the wonderful place that the people in our neighborhood have. I just want to direct to a few places. I know you haven't had a chance to really look at the booklet that I put together, but if you notice, there's pictures, and of course, those are my grandkids and my daughter, because I have the right to give those pictures away. But this is what we see. We see the river, that beautiful river. Now, sometimes it's not blue like that. Sometimes it's brown. Sometimes it's gray. But that is what Thomas Detweiler wanted us to have, the vision of the river. Thomas Detweiler lived in our neighborhood. He lived in the 400 block of Northeast Monroe. So he knew the needs of our neighborhood. If you look on page 7, he actually specified, it is my desire and purpose to save the land that I own along the Illinois River in the city of Peoria, made available for playground and recreation purposes for the Peoria community. Playground and recreation uses. That's what he wanted. And this was in 1947. 1947, that was when our soldiers were coming back from World War II. That's when we're having all these new families come into the neighborhood. All the new children being born. We have 3 grade schools in that neighborhood. We had Irving, we have Greeley, and we had Longfellow. So it was a thriving area, lots of kids, because you have to have 3 schools for lots of kids, right? One of the original, I want to flip to page 13, one of the original trustees, took him a while to say, oh, playground, yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. He finally addresses the need for the playground in 1956. Okay, so the will was made in 1947, and here it is, all those years that people had been promised a playground. In 1956, he says, you know, if you guys had helped me, we could get this done. And that's what he was. He was pleading for the people to help him. And then not only did we have the trustees wanting to help, but Tom Edwards, who was a Peoria Journal-Star ecology reporter for quite a number of years, wrote quite an expose in 1973 about Dadweiler's will. And you know what? In 1973, it still wasn't being done. Still. In fact, the boaters had taken over. So instead of the playground that he envisioned, the boating community took over and said, oh, this is what he wanted. We know that's what he wanted. So he did quite an expose and found out that, nope, that's not what he wanted. And believe it or not, some changes were made after he made that expose. Sometimes you have to put it in print to get the attention of people. Then throughout the rest of that, there's pages 23 to 35. Those are Journal-Star articles that I went through the library and found detailing what has happened and what has not happened in that area. Like I said, I've lived there for more than 40 years. I know what has gone on. I know what could be. So in page 27, 1958, oh, was my time running out? I'm sorry. Oh no, okay. Thank you.
All right, Jesse McGowan Jr., 707 East Thrush, Peoria. What I'm going to talk about this time, I'm basically speaking to Afro. What I'm going to do is meet with Chief Dixon, and I'm going to recommend that he do some things that are going to upset a lot of people. I want to triple the patrols in East Bluff. And I'm not talking about a police report, I'm talking about a street report. The streets are supposed to get bad. And right now, we have people that are robbing people on the streets in the daytime. We have people delivering drugs, people come out to the car, handing them out the window because there's no patrolling. You know, I call and ask for a patrol. They'll ask me what's happening. I said, well, I got a bunch of young people gathering. I just have a police officer ride through there, just put a damper on enthusiasm. They'll ask me, are they fighting yet? No, just want to keep them from fighting. Well, call us back when they start fighting. So if we're patrolling, because I've been in many of those parties, you have people arguing, somebody says, hey man, y'all better be cool, the police just passed by here. That automatically puts a damp on it. But right now, we very, I sit on my porch all the time. I have gone days and not see a police officer drive down my street. I'm the police officer on my street. And I have to assume that it's because of the report that came out here about 2 or 3 years ago that the police were writing excess amount of tickets in our communities. I'm assuming that's why. I don't know. I'm not making an allegation, but I know they stopped along about that time. And right now we get very, very little patrolling in that area, in the hot areas up there. And it's hard to get to call in. I've asked to meet with the second shift officers because of what I have a code that I used to use with the officers. I say, hey, look here, we got a tornado watch and a tornado warning. A watch is when the people are there that may be just riding past there with dampen. If I say there's a warning, it means there's something actually happening. I don't have that wrap on anymore because I can't get a chance to talk to the officers. I made the request several times. So we have the solutions available, some solutions available, but we're going to have a partnership. Right now, and I don't try to pat myself on the back, but I'm a one-man force right at this particular time on East Bluff because we don't have a resident officer. The patrol officers don't patrol. You call in, you make it, sometimes you don't even get out something. So the East Bluff is beginning to get out of hand. So what's going to happen to y'all when they start doing this, some innocent people going to get caught up in this if they start writing more tickets. Because as people know, it happened to me back here about a few months ago, the mayor knows about it. I'm riding with a lady, she just pulled over for dark windows. She never had a ticket before in her life. She's 50-something years old. I asked to give her a verbal one. He gave her a written citation. So this kind of stuff is going to happen once you beef up the patrol, so people are going to cry. The first time somebody's car gets towed and they can't get to work to get the car, they can't see the family because the car's towed. But it's going to happen if we beef up the patrol. But if we don't beef up those patrols, we're going to have problems in East Bluff. Because I've already prevented more fights this year than I did all of last year. The tension is high. So the only way we're going to do that, we have to have a police presence, and the speed is outrageous. I mean, we're talking about the side street. We're not talking about Wisconsin, Knoxville. We're talking about the Thrushes, the Arcadians, the Fries. They have people constantly riding through that 55, 60 miles per hour during school hours. So the only way we're going to do that is by beefing up the patrols dramatically, and you have to write a lot of tickets, and like I said, a lot of people going to get caught up in that, and you all going to get the blame for it. Y'all get complained. People going to complain to you. So, but I'm going to call for that, knowing that it's going to cause problems. Innocent people are going to get hurt. But we got to beef up the security up there. We got to. So I'm just hoping y'all understand when they do start with the chief's okay with that. We get that patrol going, and y'all be getting complaints. Okay, thanks.
Joyce Blumenshine.
Joyce Blumenshine, good evening. Mayor Ali and members of the council, thank you for your time and attention tonight. There was a handout, a one-pager that says special attributes of the Detweiler Playground at the top. The last half is an Illinois Environmental Protection Agency environmental justice start mapping. It's the most recent I could find. That light orange area is the neighborhood area around the Detweiler Playground, and the property that we are concerned about with a little check mark on it, along with the rest of the Detweiler Playground, is Caroline Street. I want to point out that Caroline is the only one that goes all the way through from the neighborhoods, and as Ms. Palmer just talked about, it's a key place to connect the river and that playground open space for the public to the neighborhoods. I think we all have seen, at least I have in my years here in Peoria, the improvements, renaissance in many parts of the North Valley. New homes that are being repaired and improved by new residents. And at one of our meetings, we heard one young gentleman say he moved there specifically to use his kayak at the public marina. Now, I know you all know your decisions are not just for now and next year and your term, but basically it sets the tone for a long time. I want to point out another major environmental justice area in Peoria that had a lot of decisions that did not help that community, and that is the South Side, 61605. So I urge you all tonight to please look very carefully at what is in the best interest of the neighborhood. The Detweiler Marina Association and many people are involved in wanting to protect Caroline Street. The O'Brien Steel has a parking lot on that for their workers. They seem to manage with the O'Brien trucks. I must say my experiences on Grant Street with the Komatsu trucks are much more challenging and difficult because of those large trucks than on Caroline ever have been. And I urge you to protect and save Caroline. Thank you.
Welcome. Kathy McNeil.
Council and mayor and city government. My name's Kathy McNeil. I live in Peoria, and many of us are grateful for all the things our city government has done for the good of Peoria and the people. O'Brien Steel, a private company, is pushing for the sale of land from a trust. The board of that trust has agreed to sell the land, but there are problems with it. and the transaction shows a lack of integrity. Let's see. I want to urge the City Council to protect public access to Detweiler Marina and Detweiler Playground through Caroline Street. This issue is bigger than a property transaction. It affects public access, neighborhood connectivity, emergency access, recreation, and the character of the entire part of Peoria. Right now, Caroline Street provides the closest and most practical route to the riverfront. Without it, residents would have to walk more than a mile from Caroline and Adams to Grant Street just to reach the water. Spring Street, from Spring Street, at least half a mile. Once access is lost, it's almost impossible to restore. The community deserves more than a narrow strip of remaining access on paper while the practical connection disappears in reality. I ask the council to take a clear position tonight, protect Caroline Street, protect meaningful public access, protect the sense of place where the people can enjoy the nature and the wildlife, and protect the legacy and intent of the riverfront for future generations. And now I'd like to present these 125 citizen comments who, like us, are asking you to do the same. And thank you for your time.
Jay Gruber.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to have citizens reach out. I actually live in Peoria Heights and raised my kids in Germantown Hills, but I have loved that river ever since we came close. We have small boats that we go with, kayaks and canoe, and my husband has a little sailboat, a sunfish, you know, the ones with the orange and yellow striped triangular sail. I offer that I am here in support of retaining the size and shape and access to the Detweiler Playground and Marina. I'm particularly interested in many things about that space. It does need more work on the pavement, etc. If Caroline Street is allowed to be having a building built over it, which is my understanding of the plan that is currently in place for that particular arrangement with the nearby business, there will be no street in Peoria that you can drive along Adams to see all the way to the water. There are other places where you can see to the trees, but not to the water. So I want you to know that's a positive thing. Also, there would be no vehicular access to the place where the pavement goes into the water, or my husband would back in and drop off his little boat. Please do what you think is helpful to support keeping the access and the nature of the park, and we need some improvement of it. I'm not quite sure, since the Detweiler Trust has declined to speak with any of the members of the community who are trying very hard to be positive, beneficial members of Peoria, and we have been trying to figure out what's going on and why we can't make it better. I would like to offer to my fellow people in the audience. If you feel that my comments indicate what you might like to go on, saving Caroline Street, keeping vehicular access by not allowing Caroline Street to have a building built over it, and that you would like that public access to be retained, if you'd like to stand up or raise your hand, I welcome you to do that. Thank you so much.
Blair Gambo.
Madam Mayor and distinguished council people, it's an honor to be here. I tell you, I moved here in 1985, and I love Peoria. I moved down here from Chicago, and there were three things that were important to me. I wanted a city with a downtown, which was very unusual then. Most downtowns were dilapidated. In fact, New York was having a little trouble with their downtown areas at that time. So Chicago still had one, and Peoria still had one. We have a body of water, okay, which is a big deal. And it's not just a lake. You can get in a boat in Chicago, and you can come down the river, and you can go to Florida, you can come back up and go to New York. You can go anywhere in the world from here. It's a great thing, okay? Plus, it's a moneymaker for our area. A lot of people that are not from this area don't even know it's a river town. But you know what? When they come here, they're always amazed at what we have here. One of the things that really impressed me was when I got here, I loved the river and all the different marinas, but I couldn't believe that we had a public marina, Detweiler Marina, that is one of the best marinas on the river all the way up and down. A lot of people don't realize that. It's deep. It does not have to be dredged all the time. The channel goes right past it and sucks the silt right out because that's where it gets narrow, okay? So it's one of those places that don't cost us a lot of money to keep up. The Detweiler Trust was wonderful, okay? He put this there, and it was a thing for our community. We as Peorians are blessed to have this as green space on our riverfront. It's an addition to all the things that we have over the years have had to fund money into to keep green space, all right? I gotta tell you, this is a freebie. It's there. It would cost a fortune. We as a city could not afford to build that marina today. There is no other marina. You can look at Eastport and think, well, look at that. Well, it's silting all the time, and it's got major problems, and they don't even have public access to put their boats in over there, all right? Here we do. You know, Bass Pro, they actually bring their boats over here to test them. That's where they actually put them in. Anybody who is wanting to use Peoria to launch their boat has to do it there. Now, you could say, well, you know, not everybody's boating. Well, first of all, you ever went to a city, and maybe you're not a boater, but isn't it a lot prettier when you have it? You go downtown Chicago, that's pretty, you know, you have a lot of beautiful boats there. You go to any of these other cities, whether it's San Francisco or wherever, it's gorgeous. And we do have that here. That's wonderful. What we want to bring in here is the possibility to bring the individuals, not the rich, not the people who have all kinds of money to spend on the river, the canoers, the kayakers, the people in the small boats, the people that actually can't go anywhere on the river upstream because they're hit by these big rollers by these yachts, and they're able to put in there, go downtown, and use the tranquil parts of the river through downtown and on through the city. It is wonderful. We have an opportunity that we have an individual who runs a marina, who moved here from California, who runs National Marine and also Seaway, so he runs two marinas. He's turned those around, they're doing wonderfully, and he has offered to actually donate his time to run this marina. When's the last time you heard, here you go, you got a marina, it's not going to cost you anything. You're not going to have to fund it. You're not going to have to insure it. He'll insure it. And it's going to bring money into the community, and it's going to bring money into the trust. That's a wonderful thing. There are problems on getting there, whether it's Caroline Street or any other way. What I'm here for now is to get the council to see the opportunity they have to keep this marina and park down there and think sincerely and very seriously about what they can do to help this happen. I know this is out of your wheelhouse. You control the roads, you don't control the Detweiler Trust, and you don't do those things. But you can do the things to help make it possible, and give us all support. That's what I ask for. Thank you.
William Ordaz.
Here's my card. I was first. Madam Mayor, council members, my name is William Ordaz, 1525 Northeast Madison Avenue, Detweiler Marina Neighborhood Association. This is in response to those who may be supporting vacating Caroline Street because of these safety concerns with O'Brien steel equipment crossing the street. It should be noted that the O'Brien warehouse at that location has been operating there since 2011, over 15 years. We don't know of any accidents involving vehicles or pedestrians there. 15 years, no accidents. Also of note, Caroline Street is an important alternate route for the Rock Island Greenway Trail during the floods. Industrial safety, of course, is important, but eliminating one of the last remaining public access corridors and vistas to the riverfront should only happen after all reasonable alternatives have been fully evaluated. The increased industrial traffic crossing Caroline Street exists because of O'Brien's expansion decisions over the years, not because the public suddenly became unsafe. 15 years. I applaud O'Brien Steel for being so successful. 1999, Northside Business Park TIF. He grew. He continues to grow. That's great. We're not against that. Across the country, industrial areas safely coexist with public streets every day through standard OSHA-recognized controls such as clearly marked crossings, reduced speed zones, warning beacons, signals, protective barriers, traffic spotters that O'Brien can have at these locations, which there are none right now, lighting, modern pedestrian technologies. These are proven mitigation measures that are already used in high traffic industrial environments. Please, before vacating Caroline Street permanently, if that should come up, the city should require an independent engineering and safety analysis demonstrating that these alternatives are insufficient. An independent engineering and safety analysis, not going off the word of a person or persons. Study it. Public safety and public access are not mutually exclusive. We can protect both industrial operations and the community's access to the riverfront at this location, Caroline Street, without permanently giving away another public street. You guys have the power to convince O'Brien. He won't talk to us. The Detweiler Playground Trust won't talk to us. Talk to him. Talk about corporate social responsibility, which is not even included. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
We do not have an executive session, so we would be at adjournment.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councilmember Gordon Young, seconded by Councilmember Kelly. Please cast your ballots. Councilmember Allen,
Aye. Good night, everyone.
thank you for your service.